Weight of Memory, Episode 23. My heart lingers back to my tea estate life in Sri Lanka and the knowledge I gained about a particular double murder case which jolted the plantation circles in the 1950s. The knife in the cane chair, Galboda's Night of Reckoning, 1954. Back in the early 60s, I was working as a member of the estate office staff when a close colleague shared a remarkable and unsettling tale. A fellow employee, someone in a role much like ours, had been convicted of murdering two co-workers at an estate in the Nawala district. While serving his sentence, the convict transformed his time behind bars into a mission of compassion. He took it upon himself to launch welfare initiatives, offering basic education to unlettered inmates and involving them in productive activities. His efforts earned the respect and praise of the prison authorities, eventually leading to an official pardon. This is the story of a man once branded a murderer and the redemption he carved for himself. The train from Colombo Fort wound its way through misty hills and emerald valleys, finally halting at Galboda Station, a sleepy outpost just past Mount Jean. Among the passengers was a bright-eyed youth named Somasiri, freshly graduated from Ananda College, clutching his appointment letter for the junior clerk position at Galboda Group Galboda near Nawala Pigtia. He was eager, polite, and full of promise. But the estate office, like many colonial remnants, harbored a cruel undercurrent. The chief clerk, a man in his 40s, took a twisted pleasure in humiliating the newcomer. Practical jokes escalated into public mockery, and the tea maker often joined in, turning the office into a stage for ridicule. Somasiri endured it all in silence, fearing that retaliation would cost him his job. One evening, the tea maker, factory officer, hosted a dinner party at his home. The chief clerk, several staff members, and Somasiri were invited. The plan was simple: ply the young man with liquor and make him the butt of their jokes once again. But Somasiri had come prepared. Days earlier, he had visited the estate blacksmith and requested a custom-made knife, claiming it was for kitchen use. The blacksmith, perhaps too trusting or too indifferent, complied without question. As the night wore on, laughter turned cruel. Somasiri, humiliated and intoxicated, reached his breaking point. From beneath his jersey, he drew the concealed knife and, in a flash of fury, drove it through the chief clerk's chest with such force that it pierced the cane chair. Witnesses later described the scene as surreal, rage incarnate. The tea maker tried to intervene. He became the second victim, stabbed in the stomach with the same blade. Panic erupted. Guests fled. Somasiri stood over the bodies, brandishing the blood-soaked knife, daring anyone to come near. Word reached Mr. David Murray, the estate superintendent. Calm and composed, he approached the scene. His presence alone seemed to pierce the haze of violence. With gentle words and quiet authority, he convinced Somasiri to surrender the weapon. The police arrived soon after. At trial, the courtroom heard not just of the murders, but of the torment that preceded them. Witnesses testified to the relentless bullying, the psychological toll, and the toxic culture that allowed it to fester. The judge, moved by the circumstances, sentenced Somasiri to 20 years imprisonment, spared from the gallows by the weight of testimony and the strength of his defense. It was a tragedy born of cruelty, silence, and unchecked power. The plantations buzzed with the tale for years, whispered in estate bungalows and around fires on misty nights. For many, it was a cautionary tale, not just of murder, but of the cost of ignoring suffering. Prison life, while details on Somasiri's specific acts of service within prison remain limited, in public records, accounts suggest that his conduct and contributions during incarceration were deemed exemplary enough to merit clemency. His pardon, granted after years of confinement, reflects a broader principle in Sri Lanka's justice system, that rehabilitation and genuine reform can lead to redemption. The Galboda case, once a symbol of tragedy, now carries a quiet reminder that even within the walls of punishment, the possibility of transformation endures.